What's going on, YouTube? It is day 6 of my 30-day challenge, posting every day for 30 days here on YouTube. And today we are talking about the best diet for women over 40 years old. It's a very common question. And what happened was someone, actually, they emailed this to me. She was a really nice woman, and she was just asking, hey, listen, I'm 42 years old, and I noticed that ever since I turned 40, that it seems like my metabolism has gone down, losing weight has been way harder, I've been way more stressed, I've been like picking at foods more, cravings have gone up, and it's been really hard for me to lose weight now. So what is the best diet for women over 40? And this is a common question, not just for women and not just for people over 40. This is for everybody, because everybody is really, they want to know the best thing for them, right? And they want to know what's the best diet for women, what's the best diet for men, what's the best diet for people over 30, the best diet for people over 60. And it's interesting. It's very interesting. It makes sense. Nobody wants a cookie cutter plan that you could just get off the internet and like that, you don't know if it's going to work. So what I want to do is I want to explain the most important thing is that you really need to understand, regardless of age, regardless of gender. And this is going to help you if you're a woman over 40 or if you're a male over 40. It's going to help you if you're a woman who is 20 or a male who's 20. It doesn't if you work out or if you don't work out, because here's the most important part of this. Unless you have a metabolic issue or if you have a thyroid problem, everything is going to be the same. Everything, especially from a fat loss perspective. And people, they usually don't like to hear this. They get really defensive, like, well, you don't know my body, you don't know. Well, here's what's really important. I was actually just talking with my friend, Dr. Nadolski, about this, Spencer Nadolski, really amazing doctor, my own personal doctor. And one thing that he was telling me was that a lot of people will come to him, and he specializes in obesity, and I've worked with thousands of men and women, and we were sort of comparing our experiences, which were very similar. And what Spencer Nadolski told me was that a lot of people will come to him and they'll say, hey, listen, I think my metabolism is not working, or it's really slowed down, or it's broken, whatever it is. Or they'll be like, I think I have a thyroid issue, maybe an underactive thyroid, and that's why I'm gaining so much weight. So like, okay, cool, we'll run a blood panel, we'll get all your thyroid work, we'll get everything back, we'll take a look. So they do the thyroid test and they're functioning normally. Like, okay, well, it's gotta be my metabolism then, because it's really slowing down. So then he's like, all right, we'll get a metabolic cart and we'll take a look at your metabolism, make sure everything's okay. And they get it back and it's totally normal. And he says, well, okay, so your thyroid's fine and your metabolism is fine. So realistically, it's neither of those. So what's going on there? And they're like, well, I think something else has to be broken. And we were talking about how everybody almost wants there to be some type of an issue outside of their control. And it's hard to hear this because, like, in your mind, like, why the fuck would I want something to be something outside of my control? But when you really dig deep into the psychology and the emotion behind it, very few people actually want to hear, listen, you're eating too much food. You're eating too much. No one wants to hear that. Even though if they really start to examine their behavior and you ask them, well, let me ask you this, what's your eating like on the weekends? Are you tracking your calories? Not so much on the weekends. And maybe sometimes at night I'll have like a little bit more extra wine, or maybe like as I'm cooking food I'm picking more than I should, or maybe like I go out to the diner on Saturday and Sunday, or maybe I'm going out and I'm having all this extra stuff, and they don't, when they're here's actually, let me just explain the major issue. Most people who want to lose fat, they think about it a lot. Every meal, every snack, constantly throughout the day. They want to lose fat. So it's constantly taking up a lot of time and effort. But when they go out and they eat, or when they're like doing their normal day to day, even if they have a treat and they eat food that they normally wouldn't count as food that would be good for fat loss, they're still thinking about wanting to lose fat, and there's a lot of guilt built up through that. So the amount of time that they spend thinking about it becomes a burden. And that time, that burden, will then almost trick people into thinking that they're dedicating a massive amount of effort to losing fat and nothing just seems to work. And meanwhile, They're forgetting about the weekends, not tracking their calories. They're forgetting about all the foods that they're eating while they're cooking and preparing and not really counting those calories. They're forgetting about the several glasses or bottles of wine that they're having. They're forgetting about a lot of the stuff that is contributing to them not being able to lose weight. And then they just think, well, it must just be because I'm getting older, because I'm 40 or because I'm 50 or because I'm 60. It must just be because my metabolism is slowing down. It must just be because I have a thyroid issue. And then when they actually go get it checked, if they go get it checked, which they oftentimes don't, and they're told that everything is normal, they think, well, this is ridiculous. My metabolism just has to be slow. And it's so frustrating to go through that. What's really important to remember is if someone's trying to get you to follow, if it's trying to sell you on a program based on like, this is only going to work if you are a woman over 40. This is only going to work if you are a male over 50. It's only going to work if you are in this age, in this demographic, in this. It's a marketing tool. It's a very good marketing tool. I bet a lot of people watching this are only here specifically because I said women over 40. Right? It's a way to grab attention, and it's a way to really make it feel as though the person delivering the content understands you and your specific struggle at a very high level. And when you feel like you can relate to them on that level, they got to know what's going on. They can fix it. And it's not necessarily a bad thing. There are some people who do that with really good intent and really good intentions and with really good programs. The issue is when you're led to believe that this is out of your control, and that the only way to see progress is through buying certain supplements or through doing like a certain program that is like, listen, here's the thing. Whether or not you do one of my programs, whether it's the Inner Circle or whatever, is irrelevant. All I want is that you do something, you take action in a way that's going to help you see results. That is the most important thing to me. And I'll tell you right now, whether you're a woman over 40, or a woman under 40, or a male over 40 or male under 40. The most important parts of being able to lose fat are being in a calorie deficit, eating fewer calories than you need, which I've written about a ton all over Instagram, Facebook, my website, Twitter. If you want to know how many calories you need to eat, I've written about that numerous times, even on YouTube. Being in a calorie deficit, eating sufficient protein, and strength training. That's it. Now, a lot of people will hear that and be like, I am in a calorie deficit. I am in a calorie deficit. I know for a fact. And I know this isn't fun to hear. It's not fun. A lot of people go, fuck this. Like, he doesn't know what he's talking about. If you think you're in a calorie deficit, if you swear you're in a calorie deficit, but you are not tracking your calories, like, and I mean weighing your food, every single one, writing down everything you're eating, everything you're drinking for 30 days straight, every single thing, weighing it, measuring it for 30 days. 100% consistent, 100% consistent. A lot of people they'll see like, I am 100% consistent. And I'll be like, okay, well, like, let's track for 7 days. And then 2 days in, they'll be like, oh yeah, I went out to lunch. I didn't really know how much I was having, so this is a little bit of a guess. We had some drinks. And then like over the weekend, yeah, we went out to breakfast. And then also, yeah, we had dinner and we had guests over and I like didn't want to yada yada. It's like, listen, give it 30 days, 100% consistent, 100%. Because most people don't realize this until they actually give the 30-day shot. Go for 30 days, track your calories, see how many you're actually eating. Because if you're not losing fat, and if you're not seeing progress, guaranteed, it is not because, unless you have a thyroid issue, like you go to the doctor, like, yeah, you have an underactive thyroid. You go to the doctor and they take a metabolic cart and you have a metabolic issue. Unless that's happened, you're just not following your guidelines. You're not hitting your calories. Or you're quitting too soon and you're basing too much of your success or lack of success on what the scale is telling you. Maybe like you've been doing it perfectly for a week or two and then the scale goes up 5 or 10 pounds. I have female clients who the scale will go up for 7 pounds on their period. And then after the period goes away, it'll go back. But imagine if they just quit as soon as the scale spiked up 7 pounds. Be like, what the fuck? This makes no sense. I'm doing everything you say. But then all of a sudden, like, they keep following it and they're consistent with it and they don't let that one spike turn into a binge that lasts 2-3 days. Then they keep going and they keep making progress. If you're thinking you're not making progress just because the scale went up, and then you quit or you binge or you say, well, this isn't working, you're not being consistent. 30 days straight. no nonsense. Actually, I just did a podcast on this recently. I was spoken with a woman in my inner circle, Natalia, and for the first 30 days, she was down about 10 pounds or so in the first 30 days, and then her weight went back up 5 pounds, and she was really discouraged because she thought, well, like, what's going on? But think about it like this: if you lose an average of a pound a week, at the end of 30 days, she lost 10 pounds. That's an average of about 2 pounds a week, right? And then, or more, actually, that's more than 2 pounds a week. So her weight goes up 5 pounds, just like a random spike up. So now, but if you look at that average, her weight went up 5 pounds after 30 days, and she'd already lost 10. That's still an average of more than a pound a week. So she stuck with it, she kept going, and boom, her weight went down. It continued to go down. But that random spike up, if that had led her to quit, she wouldn't have been successful. She wouldn't have seen what was actually possible. So either, assuming you've gone to the doctor and your thyroid is fine and your metabolism is fine, calories in check for 30 days straight, protein in check 30 days straight, strength training at least 3 days a week. If you can do that, guarantee you're gonna be losing fat. Regardless of man or woman over 40, under 40, athlete, non-athlete, doesn't matter. That's physiology, that's how the body works. If you haven't been to the doctor and you haven't gotten a thyroid check and you haven't gotten your metabolism checked, go, get it checked, be sure, but don't sit and wonder and make up stories and say this has to be it, because you don't know unless you get it checked. And by the way, even if you do have a thyroid issue, if you do have an underactive thyroid and you're on medication and it comes back up to normal levels, you're fine. You have to continue to get it checked and make sure your medication is working. But if your thyroid is in normal range due to your medication, you're fine. It's not a thyroid issue. And that's a fact. Now, keeping in mind that sometimes as you get older, if you aren't strength training, and even if you are strength training, sometimes your metabolism will drop a little bit, and that will mean that you have to eat a little bit less. But unless you actually have a metabolic issue or a thyroid issue, it's not dropping so much that you have to eat 800 calories a day. That's just not what's happening. And that's why I want you to go get it checked, go to the doctor so you can see for yourself. But it might drop a little bit, maybe 100 calories here, 150 calories there, but it's not drastic enough to the point where you just can't lose fat anymore. Odds are you're just not being consistent enough within your calories. You're not being consistent enough with tracking and being consistent enough with making sure you're actually within the range to see progress, and you're quitting too soon. So for women over 40, women under 40, for men over 40, men under 40, whoever you are, calories, protein, strength training. If you want to know how many calories you should be eating every day, you can go through. I think I even put it on YouTube here the other day. I'm pretty sure I put it on YouTube here the other day, but my Instagram, my Facebook, my YouTube, it's all over the place. Actually, I'll even put a link to an article that I wrote in the description of this YouTube video, just that will take you to exactly how many calories you need to be eating every single day. Or actually, I'll do it in another YouTube video. I'll link another YouTube video for how many calories you should be eating too. So I hope this video helps. If you have any questions or comments, let me know. Talk to you soon.